Okay, ladies and gentlemen, WesFly.Trained Coaches Roundtable, episode 5. We are lucky to be joined by a great friend of mine today, Mason Newberry. You can see by his belt buckles and conch and wooden plaques behind him, he's a very accomplished ultra runner. For those of you who don't know, Mason and I go all the way back to middle school, really, although I probably got to know you a little more in high school. We were just acquaintances, I would say. He played lacrosse and football. That's all the sports, right?
Yeah, I played the lacrosse through high school football. I quit after ninth grade.
Why'd you quit?
I got injured too much and I didn't like it. So I was like, I'll just play lacrosse.
Well, I'm just jumping straight into it. Would you consider yourself an athlete growing up, or were you just more of a you did it because your buddies did it? Because obviously now you're spending multiple hours a week towards a sport.
Uh, I think at the time I probably would have called myself an athlete, but looking back, I may have wanted to be an athlete, but I had a few good games at lacrosse, but I think if you ask the general population of like who were the good athletes that year, my name probably wouldn't have come up. So.
But if we ask someone who's a good ultra runner, odds are Mason Newberry's going to come to their mind.
Hey, well, I'm peaking a little late, so
Yeah. What do you consider yourself anything in the sport? Do you consider yourself an athlete? Do you consider it a hobby?
oh no, I mean I definitely would consider myself an athlete. You know, I mean in a way it's a hobby, I'm not getting paid to do it and I'm paying a lot to do it. But the angle would be to get paid to do it and to get sponsored at some point. But I mean that doesn't really you can't really make a living off that either. But yeah, I mean I just started a new training block on Monday. So, I have 10 hours of training this week and then we'll probably be upping it. So, in the next month or two, I'll probably be close to 15 to 18 hours a week, which is a lot more than hobby time.
Hobby joggers. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like a part-time job. Um, how's the new move? Mason just recently moved to Austin, Texas from Atlanta. How's settling in there? The pain cave looks like it's up and running. Obviously, the house looks nice.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. I need to get out more and meet some more folks, but it's awesome. I mean, everyone's outside running. The heat took a little time to get used to, but ended up helping me a lot out for my race a couple weeks ago. Got a sweet pain cave set up with a treadmill, elliptical, bike, stairmaster. So it's kind of the perfect training spot. And I have been able to find a few different trails that do have some elevation gain, which was kind of my only worry when I moved out here.
Is it that much hotter than Atlanta?
Yeah,
Like
noticeably.
what,
It's
15
like,
degrees?
I mean, it's consistently like mid 90s, high 90s here. Like, I don't know, the temps aren't too far off, probably within like 10 degrees of Atlanta, but it feels like a radiating heat here. Like, it can't, like,
Just like the sun is just fucking destroying you.
yeah, like when you go out, like in after like noon or 1 o'clock, it feels like kind of the first, 10 minutes when you get in a sauna where you're like, you feel the heat, but you're not that hot yet.
Yeah. I actually just got out of the sauna like 30 minutes ago. Also cold plunged for the first time in like since college probably. Felt awesome, but I'm sweating buckets right now. Um, so you haven't have you gone to any run clubs? Met any people in the industry? I mean, I feel like there's a ton of runners in Austin.
Not yet, but I mean, I've only been out here 2 months, so I'll get my feet wet in some of those things, but um I don't know. I'm probably using it as a little bit of a cop out, but I'm like, I need to stick to my training and not go to these run clubs. But there is a pretty savage run club on Tuesdays that like everyone there looks like pro athlete and they hit track workouts.
What is it, Bat City?
Good pain.
Good pain. Yeah, that sounds cool. It'd be a good way to like get that foot speed going, doing track intervals and increase that VO2 max.
Yeah, I just need to see how see how it works out with my training. More just get my coaches behind on it. But yeah, I mean, I want to meet some more people, some training buddies. But right now, I'm just kind of doing my own thing.
Lone Wolf Lupo. I went to a run club here and it is it's humbling, man, because I had to like you pulled up there alone and then you have to like hit people with the like, hey, I'm Mason. What's your name? What do you do? What are you interested in? It's like takes you back to like the first day of school at a new school, it feels like.
I mean, dude, Brooks was out here visiting me, and he went to the run club, and I didn't.
That's funny.
I,
Well,
I
why
have
didn't you join
work,
him?
but I kind of start work early, so it starts at like 6:30, I think. Um, so some Tuesdays I've got early meetings and it just doesn't work. But Brooks had a good time out there.
Yeah, Brooks has been crushing it. I'm very excited to see him run 100 miles, especially like after my most recent 100-mile race experience. I'm like, this bastard is in for a trip. He's probably not going to race it like a dumbass like me, but it reminded me, wow, that this is never easy. The
Yeah,
interesting thing about my race is like I didn't really have any like I didn't get injured. And honestly, I like I'm thinking back on it and like during it it was so much agony and so unbearable, but now I'm starting to like in the moment I was like I can't take another step, but now I'm thinking back I'm like you had 8 hours to go 8 miles, you could have just gotten it done. And I think as painful as it is to say, I think it just mentally broke me.
well, I mean, I think that's one of the things. 'Cause I was thinking about like all my races and stuff, and like it's not smart like for performance the way I've stacked them all. But I think like I was looking back, and I don't think I've had more than like a 3 month gap between like any of my races. But I was thinking, I was like, sign up for all those races. I mean, luckily I never had a DNF one, but I think you have to get that experience, I think, of like the realization you just had of like, I probably could have just kept going.
Yeah, actually, you did DNF once, and funny enough, it was a race that I was in, and I was just like, "Let's leave. This sucks."
Well, yeah, I mean,
Is
it's
that
kind
your
of,
only DNF?
yeah.
No,
The chat Lookout Mountain 50 miler. Yeah, I mean, we were in the right headspace for that one.
that
I
would
think,
probably that would probably be so easy for you if you went out and did it. It would just be like a long run, but
well, I mean,
the legs and hips, man.
we did well at Pine Mountain 40 miler like 2 weeks before, and we were like, oh, let's go sign up for
True,
another one. And then
true.
25 miles in, we were close to cut off. And then we were just like, the idea of leaving and going back to Chattanooga and hitting the brewery sounded a little bit better.
Yeah. So does DNF just like it just does not register in your brain? It's just like never an option, no matter
Uh,
what.
I don't
Like,
know.
do
The
you
weird,
have that like during Cocodona when you rolled your ankle at mile 30 and you had 220 more miles to go? Did DNF or like quitting ever register in your brain as an option, or you're just like, I can take another step. If I can't go further than that, then we'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I'm fine now.
I mean, more the latter, but I think it kind of just depends on like the race and how bad you want it. Because like Cocodona, I mean, I had so much invested in that. Like, financially and just like mental space tied into it. Like when there's a race like the Keys and like Cocodona, like both of those races, I knew I was doing it for at least 9 months before. They both involved travel, crew, paying for flights, hotels, and when I kind of get like locked into a race like that, it takes up like a lot of my just extra mental capacity. Like I'm thinking about it kind of all the time. So for Cocodona, it was like it never like came up because it was like it had been on my mind for so long and so much like mental energy spent towards it. It was just like, well, we're gonna figure it out. But kind of like you said, it was like, well, I'm not gonna quit, but I was, in my head, I was like, maybe there's a point where I can't keep going. But I listened to some podcasts and like people have talked about like lots of times at like the 200-mile races, like you assume your low moment's gonna happen at like mile 150 or 170. So then like you really get kicked in the face when like at mile 25 you like your stomach is acting up or your quads already feel like blown up. So I kind of prepared for the worst. So like when it did roll, I was like, well, I mean, I can still walk and fast walk and hike. So if we have to hike for the next 5 days, which we kind of did, um, that's what we'll do. So, but I mean, I was still, I kind of hiked from, I hike ran from like Monday, Tuesday, and then I woke up Wednesday and had like one of my lowest mornings. And then like 2 hours later, I'm running again at like mile 140. And it's just like it's wild because like, you see your ankle and like I had to cut my shoe open to like fit my foot in. Um, but then I was just like running like 8:30, 9-minute miles on the flat areas at like mile 140 after thinking I was gonna have to limp the thing in. Um, so I think, I don't know, that kind of experience, like you don't know if it's going to be hours later or minutes later, but usually your body will come back around. And I don't know if that's just like the adrenaline masking it or if your body just decides to work with you because it realizes you're not stopping or something.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and segue into Cocodona because we haven't officially been able to debrief. I mean, we've texted a lot about it, but that was back in May, which would be like 4 months ago, roughly. Um,
Yeah.
and so you basically got a taste of the mountain 50 milers, 50 Ks, did the Keys 100, which is a flat road 100, the Georgia Jewel 100, which I would say was like kind of a breakthrough race for you. You got what, fourth place, fifth place,
Yeah,
fourth,
fourth.
fourth, in like a pretty competitive race for the South. Um, and then I think the next one was Cocodona, right? I mean, you did
Yeah.
like some smaller ones.
Yeah, I did a few like 50Ks in the spring, just kind of as long runs building up to Cocodona. But yeah, I guess jump back to the what was it? The Georgia Jewel 50 miler. That was the first race I had done in longer than a 10K. And I was trying to find the text this morning, but I remember you texted me like 10 days before to do it. And like I think I was like kind of iffy about it. And you're like, it's just like a long hike. I was like, all right, let's do it.
Let's
And that kind
go.
of that was like the ripple effect that led me to where I am now. It's pretty
That's where it all
cool.
started. Yeah, I'll take all the credit for your ultra running success.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I told y'all Mason and I were like past each other in the hallways at school, but then at some point after Mason graduated college, I saw he started running a bunch, and then I texted him, "Yo, we should just do this 50 miler. Like it's chill. It maybe will take 9 or 10 hours, but you got it, man." He was like, "Yeah, sure." And so what prompted you to say, okay, I'm gonna do a 250? Like what was the motivation there? Why were you drawn to that Cocodona? Because in my head, Cocodona is like the top of the mountain. Like you run a marathon and then you do a 50K and then you do a 50 miler and then you do a 100 miler and then you do like a 48-hour race and you just said, screw it, I'm just gonna go to the hardest as soon as possible.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was some like arrogance or just some like momentum that carried me there. But all the races I had done up to that point, besides that Chattanooga one we did, were like I'd finish, and even if the result wasn't what I wanted, it was like a still a huge confidence booster. I mean, doing Keys 100, like not long after I started running and finishing it, I was like, okay, well, if I can do that, and I think, and maybe it's just something I do, but like whenever I look back at my training blocks, I'm always like, I didn't really train that hard. And then I always think that I can do something bigger if I actually like spend more time and effort on it. But yeah, I mean, I think right after the keys, you're in that like post race, like looking for the next thing. And I think that was the same time where like the 2024 Cocodona live stream was like going on. And I think I was just watching it and I was like, and I realized that like I could sign up for the charity bib option without having to pay. So, but it locked me in, even though like all the other entry spots had already like sold out. And because it was so far away, I was like, well, like, no, I'll sign up now. It's like 12 months, we can figure it out. So that's kind of what I did. Signed up, locked it in. I think I remember texting you, like, I just signed up for it.
Why were you drawn to it? Just
Um,
because it's the biggest, baddest, and you want the biggest challenge?
yeah, I think I was kind of just like, I mean, like, I don't know. I've always believed I could do anything I set my mind to. So like there was no doubt that in my mind that I could finish it if I like trained for it. So I kind of just like I mean, why wait? Like let's go ahead and do it. And I mean, it was like if the thought of failing didn't really come up, to be honest. But that's also something I'm not really like scared about. But yeah, I think I was just like, screw it, like let's go ahead and go big.
Yeah, go big or go home kind of mentality. So, like, are you interested in the Barclays Marathon? Like, for me, that race looks like it sucks. I would never do Barclays,
No, I
but it looks like the hardest one that there is, like 1% finish rate. But
I don't
on the other hand, sorry, I'm yapping myself here. On the other hand, the Badwater 135 is like the toughest foot race on earth, except you and I would probably agree it's like not even top 10. Um, but for me, like that, like a flat 135-mile road race that is like plays into the hands of people who handle heat well, I'm like, that sounds awesome. I think it'd be hard, but I think I could like do decently. And it's the David Goggins one that he made popular. So like that's why I like that one. But I don't like Barclays because it's like navigation and picking up pages of a book, and it's like more of a John Kelly, through hiker, like trail person kind of race than um
yeah.
what I like. So why Cocodona?
Yeah, I mean, the Barclays that doesn't appeal to me at all. I'm not interested in the navigating. I want my watch to tell me where to go. I want a well-marked course for the most part. I mean, um, I don't know. I mean, I honestly think there's a few things. I mean, it was the grand event. I was like, that'd be sweet if I could do that in my first
Because it's
few
the most
years.
competitive 200 miler there is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the most
All
competitive.
the
It's longest. I mean, I think the Arizona Monster came out right around the same time, but it was the longest one at the time when I signed up. It also the course is sweet. So it's like that'd be a cool way to see Arizona. I'd never been to Arizona before. But the live stream, I think that drew me to it. Like that was probably one of the bigger factors too. I was like, people can watch and follow along. I think Cocodona also had the most amount of like YouTube documentaries. Like there was the Chad Wright one, the Sally McRae one, a few others, and like that's kind of what I watch in my free time. So I was like, I felt like I knew a lot about the race. Could like, I mean, some of the Destination Trails one had documentaries, but Cocodona seemed like the coolest one. Aravaipa gets a lot of good praise on just how they run their events. So I mean, a combination kind of everything, just being the biggest event, most competitive. Um, Timing kind of worked out. It was a year
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, I guess one like silver line it's not a silver lining, it's a bad thing. I guess one thing you have to ask yourself now is like, well, I did the hardest race in the country that there is. So where are you shifting your focus now that you've already done Cocodona? Are you gonna do the Triple Crown? Are you gonna try and, go shorter and faster? What's up next for you?
Yes, that's
2026. Let's look at 2026. Let's tell me what like you would love 2026 to look like.
yeah. I mean, my main goal for 2026 is to get to the pro level. I was kind of reflecting back on everything I've done this far. And so I've proven to myself that I can like go the distance and like finish the hard races, but I've only been competitive in the local races. So like I'm now wanting to get competitive on, I guess, the national level. So I'm signed up for Canyons 100K in April. So that's what the training block I just started for on Monday was. So it's going to be an 8-month block. Um, so a lot of time to build, and I mean, my main thing is getting faster. Um, but yeah, ideally, my goal for that is to place high. I mean, it's an extremely competitive race. It's the last Western States Golden Ticket race. So all the pros out there who want a chance at Western States and haven't gotten in yet, that's kind of like their final opportunity. So I picked that one because that'll be a good just indicator of like where I'm at compared to actual pro ultra runners versus, locally finishing high in races. So, my goal would be to place high, but, maybe I'll be humbled and realize that you can't get to that level that quick. But I'm pretty dedicated to spending the next 8 months solely on that race. That's what I've told my new coach. Um, I love racing and competing, but I'm fine not doing any races other than maybe a few small 50Ks in prep. Um, so like I'm kind of putting everything on this one race for the next 8 months. And then my goal with that is, if you place high, then you kind of get recognized, and that's an opportunity for sponsorships and other opportunities. And if you don't, then you've had an 8-month training block focusing on getting faster and becoming the kind of athlete who can do well at canyons, and that would still leave me with some pretty great fitness to carry me into the rest of the 2026 season. So I don't really know what the back half of 2026 would look like, but um, just kind of depends on how we're feeling and how fit we are come late spring.
It's pretty runnable, isn't it? Like, isn't it in the like I think I saw videos of Joe McConaughey at least doing it, and it looks like it's kind of like pretty flat, maybe a little rolling hills, maybe a couple little like rocky creek looking sections. But I don't they come through like 50K in like sub 4 hours? Pretty,
Probably around there. I think the winning times, the podium times last year were between like 8:20 and 8:40. But I mean, there's a lot of elevation. I mean, I think it is a lot of runnable, but there's 14,000 feet of elevation over
oh, wow.
100K. So it's
That's
very
a
much,
boatload.
yeah, I mean, it's very much mountain-ish.
Yeah.
Ultra.
Because, yeah, with you, I mean, you can go all day. You did that Merrill's Mile. Did you go? You did 12 hours. Did you go 100K in that? You went like 68 miles, didn't
That
you?
is, yeah, I think that's 66 or 67 miles. Um,
Um, so you can go that far. I feel like for you, it would be like getting more comfortable at the faster zones, which means increasing your ceiling for probably like a marathon or a 5K or a 10K. Is that what you and coach have drawn up? Like, are you going to start doing track workouts and
yes, I mean, I think I actually might be aerobically deficient, surprisingly. So I think we're gonna do kind of both and work on just building a lot of aerobic volume over the next 4 months while also doing speed work. I think we're gonna maybe have me do a road marathon in December or potentially just fast 50K in January. But yeah, I mean, I've got to get significantly faster if I want any shot of competing. I probably need to bring my aerobic threshold pace down by like 90 seconds.
what's how fast is Jolif?
Um, I don't know.
I
I mean,
want to say he's run like
I think
224
he's,
in the marathon.
yeah, that
Something
sounds
crazy
right.
like that's very fast. He doesn't look like his build, he doesn't look like a marathon runner, like a super fast one.
Yeah, I think he did run like a 224 or something quick.
Um, how have you navigated training? Like you just got a new coach. I know you used to be coached by Mike McKnight, and ultra running is a lot of like just putting in the volume at like a zone two easy. How did you approach training from like a durability standpoint? Like clearly you have to have some, you said you got injured in football in middle school or whatever, or lacrosse. How did you approach like mobility? Because I know you were telling my wife about the slant board, which I ended up never using once, which is just a pity and a half. But talk to me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like up to this point, I mean, I did some interesting training after Cocodona between that and the AC 100. But for the keys and for Cocodona, my training wasn't like super special. It was more just volume. But I think mobility is kind of what was like my secret weapon. I mean, despite my ankle issue, but like I do lots of mobility, the knees over toes, guys, exercises. So like tibialis work with the tib bar, knee stuff on the slant board, um, real and like getting my feet strong. So really just trying to like bulletproof my legs. I guess more my joints and tendons. Because like that, I mean, if you get like super bad knee pain or something, that's like sharp knee pain during a race, like that's probably what's gonna knock you out. But like for me, like I've never up until Cocodona, I've never had any sort of, like mechanical issues with my knees, ankles, um, or anything like that. So a lot of the mobility stuff, I think has allowed me to, even if my fitness wasn't there, like hang in there and like keep moving when some people might be faster, more fit, but their knees are having issues and they're having to walk when I can shuffle. But I do a lot of Stairmaster. We'll toss on like the weighted vest and do that. I think that's super helpful for just like muscular endurance and getting your legs used to like the tendons and fibers getting like shredded. Um, yeah, I mean, between Cocodona and Angeles Crest 100 a couple of weeks ago, I was kind of just tired of running. So I did like a lot of cross training, a lot of like incline treadmill stuff with the vest, lots of Stairmaster with the vest. I started doing like wall balls, almost more like CrossFit, high rocks type stuff. I mean, stuff that's just made sense in my head. I mean, I felt fit enough, and then I was like, if I can get my legs a little bit stronger, have a little bit more endurance, then like I should be fine. And that kind of allowed me to feel like I was being productive while not running more than 20 miles a week. But I'm not quite sure how that paid off. Um,
What is your, so when you're in a race, deep in a race, and it's getting tough, what do you think your limiting factor is? Because for me, it's my legs. They start to, and it doesn't happen in a marathon or a half marathon, but in an ultra marathon, my legs just start to feel like they've been annihilated with a baseball bat, and like every step is like deep pain. Do you get that leg pain, or is it just a fitness thing and you don't have the energy to hold like a 10 or 15-minute mile? Like you were saying at Angeles Crest, at one point you were moving at like half a mile an hour.
yeah,
Obviously it was steep, but when it gets tough, what adversity are you facing?
I mean, I think I would never say I've had like leg pain, but like I think the ability, like I think the fast twitch, like fibers just are completely fatigued and aren't working. Like I mean, I can like move all day at a slow pace, but um, you know, my fitness or my ability to like I can power hike all day, but I'd say the fitness would be the factor that causes me not to finish these races fast.
That's interesting. Um, so let's do the kind of play by play of Cocodona. How was that first 50K and carrying all those liters of water? It looked like it was like overcast in the beginning, wasn't it?
Yeah, so I mean Cocodona weather this year was interesting because like typically it's like not in the 90s and that first day is like brutally hot. You got to carry like 4 to 6 liters of water. Um, but I mean it was overcast. It didn't really get that hot. It even hailed at one point in the first like 30 miles. But yeah, I mean I ended up I had like 2 liters of water on me that I didn't even touch. And I think it's because I was also not used to like wearing a camelback. So I had like the bladder and like I was just carrying probably 6, 7 pounds of extra weight in water that I didn't need. Um,
You just on race day wore it for like the first time.
yeah, well, I mean, I
You
trained
didn't
with
train in your pack.
it. Well, I had trained with it a couple times, but no, I mean, it was like we got to like there were only like 2 water fills between like the first 37 miles or the first 32 miles. So like they told you when you left like the 7 mile water station that you wanted to have like 4 liters. I just didn't like hydration wise, I didn't need that much. Like I ended up drinking two and I got to like the 25-mile one, which was the second fill up, and I still had 2 full liters in my pack. So I realized I was pretty much like rucking when I could have had like 6 pounds less of water on me. Um, I mean, that was a big lesson I learned at Cocodona. I always had way too much shit in my pack. Um, the aid stations are super stocked. So like you'll end up eating like grilled cheese, ramen, pancakes, whatever, and then like I'd still have all my gels in there, and like you really don't need that much fuel between aid stations, at least if you're racing it like I was. I mean, the front of the pack, are probably using their gels and they're moving nonstop and being efficient, but if you're just kind of like through hiking it like I did, um, you don't need as much stuff in the pack.
Yeah, are you with like a group of people that first 50K or whatever? Like what are the vibes in terms of the race? I'm sure Harold Subertes just took off right from the gun.
Yeah, I mean they all the pros took off right from the gun. I mean, I was probably like back of the front pack for the first day.
Were you running?
Yeah, I was running anything that was runnable. But I mean, the first 32 miles had 10,000 feet of climbing. So I mean, it was, a lot of it was steep and not very runnable. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of in a group, probably of like 5, 10 people who you would just kind of, you'd pass them, they'd pass you, and that kind of went on for the first day. And then down into like Crown King, which is like the small little town in the Bradshaw Mountains. It's not even a town. There's like one saloon. That was like the first aid station, and first crew access point. But I told my crew just to meet me in Whiskey Row at mile 77 because it can be like hard to get down there. And I figured I'd be feeling good, only that early into the race, so I wouldn't really need them. It can be a waste of their time. And I was feeling good, came in, swapped out, had my drop bag there, and then went back into the night and got in.
How long do you think the first 50K took? Like,
It took me, I think 9 hours.
damn.
I want to say I um, came through around 2 o'clock to the 37-mile aid station. So, sorry, not 9 hours is for the 37-mile section. Um, I mean, when I was out there,
And
like if this was the 50K alone, like just I was like, this would probably be the one of the harder races I've done.
yeah. And where were the vibes at mile 37 aid station? Was this pre rolled ankle or post?
It was post, but like my ankle was like manageable. It was just like I was like, it's probably gonna get worse, I mean, I doubt it's gonna get better. But vibes were high. I mean, came in, I was moving good. I was on my pace coming in. The weather was cool. I wasn't having any stomach issues. Got like a pulled pork sandwich. switched some gear, um, and then headed back out. I mean, I felt great. But around mile like 50, my ankle started really hurting. And like I had to, like, I couldn't run the downhills. And there's like a lot of downhill, like, fire roads that like I was looking to bank some time on. Um, but the downhills hurt more on my ankle. So like I was kind of having to like walk those, which was, a bummer. But taking some painkillers helped. Took some Advil. But you got to be careful with that. But yeah, I mean, I was I felt pretty good overall. I mean, I was like very quickly, I was like, all right, well, this might be a different race than I was expecting if I have an ankle issue, but like it is what it is. So, just deal with it, keep moving, realign expectations. But coming into mile 77, that was to Whiskey Row. Um, and I felt pretty good. I mean, I was like limping coming in, and I knew I was gonna get like a 2 hour sleep. So I came in, I was like, we need to do something about my ankle. Then we woke up and we didn't do anything about my ankle.
Did they
Well,
serve whiskey at Whiskey Row?
um, they probably did. I did not drink any alcohol on the course. Some
No aid
people,
station Fireball.
no.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I felt good coming to that aid station. I would say Monday was a good day. Tuesday was the worst day.
Wait, hang
Um,
on. Okay, so I got some more questions. So day one went pretty well, minus the rolled ankle, and then you started to get, I'm guessing it was like shooting pain on the downhills. So it wasn't like you were really struggling fitness wise. You were just a little handicapped from the rolled ankle. Then the
yeah,
night hits.
yeah.
Were you able to sleep at Whiskey Row?
Yeah, I slept for 2 hours. I woke up and I felt pretty good, like high energy. Felt like I had gotten a whole night's rest. I was probably
Where'd
like
you
90.
sleep?
We had an Airbnb that was like in downtown, so it was like half a mile from the aid station. So I just checked out, like turned my bib in. Probably got 90 minutes sleep, and then it was. I think I came into that aid station at like 22 hours, so I got there at 3 a.m., which was on track for where I wanted to be. But then day two was just the slowest day. Ankle was rough, and it was just like lots of flat areas that you would think you could like on paper make up time. But we went through like the Granite Dells, which is like some cool rock formation area by the lake and outside of Prescott. And that just took, I mean, you were kind of climbing over rocks. The elevation profile looks flat, but it's like it took some time. Then after that, it was like freezing cold rain while we were going through 10 miles of cow pastures, and it was just so muddy. So like you'd have like 2 inches of mud under your shoe. It felt like you were walking with like ankle weights on. So you couldn't really run through that. But also because it was like freezing rain, I don't think I had gloves with me. Like I wasn't getting any food or nutrition out of my pack. So like I think so I was one just moving really slow because of the conditions. And then two, mentally I started to like have a low just because like a lot of times your mind can have the lows when you're not like fueling. Because it starts to think that like, you're going to starvation and like your mind just kind of wants to create outs for you to quit and not hurt yourself. I
There it
went to
is. You thought about quitting, but you didn't actually think about it, did you?
No, what happened was I was coming to Fain Ranch and I was at 90 mile 94 and like I had been moving so slow. And then I was like, when I started, that was the first time I did my ultra mental math. Um, and that's a no-go. You never want to do that. But I was like doing the math in my head on pace. I was like, if I keep this same pace, like I'm gonna finish. I think my math was also wrong, but I was like, I'm gonna finish like Friday night. And like I was wanting to finish like before sunrise on Thursday morning. Like, I was trying to get 75 hours, which I didn't really have any business That was kind of a made up number based on nothing. But
Based on recent years' performances, probably.
yeah, but like no real reason to like be able to like it's hard to give yourself a number when you've never ran more than 100 miles. But yeah, I was doing the math and then I think I just hadn't eaten much. So like that was like the first time like I remember like kind of tearing up. I was like, this is gonna take forever. And it
This is
was
gonna
like,
suck.
yeah, like it was like, holy shit, I'm not even at 100 miles yet. And like and then you do the math and it's like, okay, well now I've got like a 12-mile climb up Mount Mingus. And then I've got a 17-mile climb down it. So I was like, oh, I'll make up some time on the 17-mile down. The 17-mile, so we climb up Mount Mingus, freezing cold rain. We get to the top, and this is the first time, this is Tuesday night, seven
Are
o'clock.
you like so you were like had 5 or 10 people kind of like in your race the first 50K. When you're going up Mingus Mountain, are you like in no man's land? There's not anyone 200 meters ahead or 200 meters behind you, or are there still people in the race that you can see?
There's still some people in the race. Yeah, like there were a couple people. I think that was still early enough in the race where like you're not too spread out. Um, so at the top of Mingus Mountain was 107 miles, I think, into the race. So I got up there, our crew van was up there. I was like so cold, couldn't stop shaking, got in the van to warm up, took off my socks to replace him, and that's when we saw my foot. Like that was the first time since Tuesday morning, so earlier that day that we had looked at my ankle, and it was like I was like I started like tear up in the van. I was like, how am I gonna do this?
It
Because it
was
was
just
like,
super swollen and black.
yeah, I mean, it was swollen up to like midway at my shin. It wasn't black.
Yeah.
I think I might have had some like edema, like there might have been like fluid in there, but it was so swollen. And then that's when I switched into my the Speedland Cam Hanes shoes because they're the only shoes that could like fit my foot, and I had to cut them. And then Ty and I left that aid station maybe at like 7:30 p.m. and to do the 17-mile section down into Jerome. Yeah. And that 17-mile section took me longer than it took me to do the first 37 miles.
And it was downhill.
Yeah.
Why
But
did
I
it
mean,
take so long?
it was like a double track, like all the way down the mountain. And it was just like, so it was like dipped on both sides, I guess from, I don't know, four-wheelers or something, but like filled with water on both sides. Like, I think like even like the pros weren't able to run down that. Like it was not filled with
Still
water,
mud.
but
Or
mud.
is that just the cow pastures?
No, I mean this was still like in so much mud. Um, like there's some videos, I mean, it's like you're literally walking through slop, and it's like you know, if you try to run on one side, then like all of a sudden that side's the one that's filled up with mud. So then you kind of like go around to the other side of the double track, and like that side's filled up, and it's you know you couldn't really move. And then that was also, you know, going on, I don't know, close to probably hour 40, and I'd only had 90 minutes of sleep. So like I was also just like sleep deprived, and so moving really slow. Um,
How was that? This is the first time you experienced that, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, I mean, I never really had hallucinations. I think, you know, some people do really stretch it out and do like 30 minutes of sleep over the whole time, but I think a lot of people also just make up that they hallucinate because
Yeah.
it's a cool story. You know, you definitely do see
You
things.
hear you hear people you hear people who have hallucinations in 50Ks.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think that. I mean, I think some people maybe they're genetically they have issues, but
You
I don't
definitely
know.
get delirious though, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean when it's dark too, though, and like you know, a tree or something can kind of look different, but then when you like look at it, you realize it's a tree. But you know,
Yeah.
you're not seeing dancing bears or anything, or at
Yeah.
least I wasn't.
You will when you start doing 40 plus hour races and competing with the front. Because
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
you're like every second that you're sleeping is time on the clock.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure going on 30 minutes of sleep for 3 days, you will be. But
So
yeah,
after
so
that shitty portion, that shitty 17-mile portion, what happened after that? Did you get
yeah, so
another little rest in?
we got down to Jerome Mile, I think 120 something aid station at like 3 a.m. Um, we had a hotel that was like 10 minutes away, and I was like, I gotta go sleep. Getting out of the van at the hotel, I had to like put my arm around Kelly, and I could not walk. And like getting in the hotel, like I was like certain when I woke up the next morning. I was like, it was never me thinking of like quitting, but I was just like, I don't know that like I'm like physically gonna be able to move. And then I woke up in the
What was it? Your
morning,
ankle or just like you're
ankle.
just shot? Oh.
No, it was my ankle. Like I couldn't put like pressure on it.
Did you think it was maybe broken?
I no, I think it wasn't like a structural like bone thing. It was my like my tendon. I think the issue was I had my shoes tied too tight, and I think I took like one stride that was just like the wrong angle. So I think the combination of like having the laces tied too tight right on that tendon caused a tear. So like my whole like I couldn't even like really like do any like dorsiflexion with my like foot, and then like walking and putting pressure on it was so difficult. So like we got in the hotel, I iced it, went to sleep, but I was like, at that point I was like realistically like I don't know if I'm gonna be able to finish this thing. I mean I had told Ty I think like will get me a boot and I'll walk until they cut me off. But I was never gonna like I was never planning to quit. I was like, I'll, if I DNF, it'll be because I don't make the time cut off. And then woke up.
Did you start to tell your crew like, sorry guys, I think it's gonna be a little bit longer than we had anticipated.
Um, that's kind of a recurring theme at my races.
Same.
Yeah. I mean, it was only a day and a half longer to finish the race than I told them, but Um, yeah, I woke up in the morning and I had a real low point that morning. I mean, it was maybe 6 a.m. And I think
How do you not like how do you not just like snooze another hour? Like alarm goes off and you realize, oh, I gotta go to do everything I just did again for the next 3 days. Like you set a hard 6 a.m. I'm getting up and I'm going.
yeah, that's kind of how it was. Like they wake me up. I mean, you kind of know like you're screwed either way. It's like you don't want to be racing the clock. So like, I woke up and I think I started to kind of like tear up and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna go another 125 miles. And I was just like, that seems so far. It's like especially considering my ankle. And then like 20 minutes later, like I'm like smiling and like running down Jerome. And Tuesday, Wednesday was like my best day yet. Like I hit mile like 135 and I was just like the crew was looking at my tracker and expected times and like there was this moment I was like, let's see if I can run again. And then like that's when I was like hitting like I don't know, 9, 10 minute miles at like 140 and I beat them to the aid station. And then I was just like, I'm leaving, going to the next and kept running to the next one. I was like hit two 14-mile sections, feeling great running, picked up Brooks somewhere on mile 150, took me into Sedona. And really from like then on out, the race was like I don't know, that like gave me a boost. I got confidence again. I was like, okay, like we're gonna finish this thing. Like even if I go 40 miles Wednesday, 40 Thursday, 40 Friday, like I'll still finish on Friday. And the cutoff's midday on Saturday. So I think I was like a little bit in my head or a lot in my head. And then when I kind of like stepped back and I was like, wait, 40 miles a day, like you can cover that like slow hiking. So then I was like, okay, well, I'm definitely finishing this thing. Um, and yeah, that kind of like, I didn't really have many other low points.
What made that section good?
Um, it was a relatively flat section with like nice trails kind of on your way towards Sedona. And like it was in the heat, which like I don't really have much of an issue with the heat, but like so a lot of people are going slow and like in these races when you pass someone it gives you like a boost. So like this is also where like Sedona Canyons people were out there, so I couldn't tell which ones were doing the Sedona race or if they were doing the Cocodona race, but it was like there were so many people to pass, whether they were in my race or the other one, that like you'd pass one and it'd be like, and then you'd see one like quarter mile in the distance because it was just all open, and then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm gonna catch up to them, and then like kind of just kept that going, and then you know felt great. I probably had the runner's high, was fueling good. I mean, the weather was like probably 80 degrees, but it was after being cold and rainy the whole start of the race. So I mean, the sun probably just made me in a better mood. And then
Sedona's pretty sick too, isn't it?
downhill is my favorite part of the. I mean, I some of the cool parts I was in the dark, but leading up into Sedona, I mean, it was so beautiful.
And then how was Wednesday night sleep? Did you get another pad to crash at?
Yeah, I pretty much clamped the whole the whole race. I was talking to someone about it. I was like, next time we're not doing that. I was like, we were living good. Yeah, I went back to another Airbnb Wednesday night. Woke up Thursday. Thursday morning was rough for me, like physically, not mentally. So like that's kind of an interesting place to be. Like it's just kind of like frustrating. You're like, damn, like my Achilles were so messed up. The Cam Hanes shoes, the Speedland shoes, they don't work well with my Achilles, but they were the only shoes I could wear at the time for my ankle. So like they had really irritated my Achilles, and like I was stopping like every 200 feet. I like, even took off my socks and like rolled them up and put them behind my heel in between the shoe. And like I was kept trying to like troubleshoot and figure out how to like get the Achilles pain to stop. And I kind of did that for like a whole 20-mile section, and then met up with the crew, and we ended up switching into my North Face shoes, and we cut the heels off of them. So I was wearing them like slippers. And that solved the Achilles issue. And then wore those for like 40 miles. But I mean, Thursday and Friday were both great, like high morale. Um, Thursday night got like my crew got me like a 3x3 from In-N-Out and a milkshake and fries, and like I probably got like 2,000 calories of food in me, slept for 3 hours, and then got up, did like a 20-mile section by myself, and I was running good, and then met up with Ty, and he took me from there up Eldon to the finish.
Was there that feeling of so close yet so far away when you had like 50 miles left? Were you like, at what point did you feel like you were in the home stretch?
I think I'm mile 185. I feel like I was in the home stretch. I mean, really, yeah, I mean, once I crossed 200, it was like, okay, like finish line's in sight. Um, I think at that point too, it was like, again, kind of doing the math, and it was like, oh, I've got plenty of time. It was like you don't even have to like rush almost. But I mean, really, once I hit 150, that was kind of like a turning point. Like once I was counting down from 100, it was a lot more manageable.
Yeah, golly, I just can't even comprehend it after like 5 days. When do you think the next time you're going to take on a multi-day event is going to be? At least not for like
I
a
don't know.
year.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, probably not more than a year, just because it doesn't align with what I'm trying to do right now. Earliest would probably be, uh, next fall of 2026, but honestly, I think I want to go back and do Cocodona before I do any other 200. So like if I can somehow in May like register before it gets sold out, I think it'd be sweet to go back there in 2027.
Yeah, I heard Joel Liff say on a podcast the other day, it's like Cocodona is the one race that people always want to go back to, and that makes me want to do it. It's like a yearly Misogi, it sounds like.
Yeah, I mean like I don't have any other 200 to compare it to, but I mean just you're in so many different like environments there. Um, the aid stations are insane. The hype
When you
around the
finished it, when you finished it, you first thing you texted me was something along the lines of, "Holy shit, dude. It literally felt like I was out there for an eternity." Tell me
dude,
about that.
I like it during it. I mean, I even said during it, I was like, I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy.
Did you
Uh,
retire during the race?
oh yeah. Uh, Actually, I don't think I retired during the race. I did at the Keys a few times. Um, I think I was like, this is definitely an every like 3 to 5 year thing. I was like, this is not like something I can do yearly. I mean, it literally felt like an eternity. Some of those sections, you like check your watch and it's like, okay, I've got 16 miles left, and then it's like or like 12 miles left, and then like you check your watch again like 4 hours later, and it's like I've got 11 miles left, and it's like what? And like these sections are just never ending. Like you'll have like the final 4 miles of all these sections. It's just like it seems like they never end. So yeah, I mean, it felt like an eternity. I think like 3 days after, I was like, oh, this could be like a yearly thing. And then I think like a month, 3 weeks after, I was like, oh, I kind of want to do another 200.
Yeah. You're not like Joe Corcione though. The next morning, after he finished, he was like, "I'm doing it again." Took me
Yeah,
like 10 days after my last race to even like consider picking up running again. But now I've got demons, man. Like that shit was embarrassing. I need to go revenge something. But we'll see.
yeah.
We got monk mode coming up.
I mean, that'll be good timing. I think it sometimes it can be like you don't necessarily need to go out like 2 weeks after. Like go build your fitness and race it right.
Rebuild. How good did it feel to cross the finish line
Um,
up in Flagstaff?
I don't know. It was kind of surreal. I mean, the last 5 miles took so long. Coming down off Eldon, like was the most technical downhill because they swapped it this year. So like instead of running down the fire road, you come down like the technical terrain, and like all my toenails, my knees, like everything at that point was just like so wrecked. And just like imagine going downhill, like technical terrain for like 5 miles. Like, so like we were inside of the finish line, like within like 7 miles of the finish line for what felt like a day. But like getting there, I don't know, it was surreal. It was kind of sad. I mean, like you just spent like a year looking forward to and training for this thing, and then like what felt like another couple of years doing the actual race, and then all of a sudden like you're done. You hit that realization of like, all right, this journey is over. So I mean, it was bittersweet, more sweet, but
You
it's
got
kind
it
of like
done though.
yeah,
I mean, did you have any doubts in your mind whether or not you'd be able to finish it before you started?
not a single. I mean, I was overly confident. I thought I'd be able to finish it a day faster. Yeah, I don't know. That's something that I've luckily had, and I'm not sure where exactly it comes from, but going into any race, I've never once had the thought of like not being able to finish it. Um,
Yeah. And tell me about the aftermath of the physical effects. Like I know you had some issues with sleeping and fever and tell me about how long it took the ankle to recover and really what you did like the following 2 days. Like, are you literally just posted up in bed watching TV? Do you have the mental capacity to like text people?
Yeah, so the day after I felt actually like suspiciously good. And was like, I mean, I wasn't moving well, but like energy wise, I felt good. But then the day after, I felt so sick. My feet kept getting more swollen, like sore throat, fever. Um, and then, I had to fly back from Phoenix to Atlanta, and like I think the altitude, like my feet were probably twice the size when I got back to Atlanta.
Flew
Um,
back 2 days later.
yeah, so I mean, I finished Friday, flew back Sunday.
Are
Um,
are you going to restaurants and getting meals? Are you having
yeah, we
it?
went. Yeah, finished Friday. We got picked up pizza and Flagstaff and just like ate at home. And then Saturday we went out to like Sweet Green or some bowl place, ate there, felt good. And then got back to Atlanta Sunday. And then for the next like 2 weeks, I had definitely like come like midday, you'd get this like insane wave of tiredness. I was brain fog, like hard to think. Body's still kind of getting like temperature regulation a little bit off, but I'd say I recovered pretty quick. I mean, I think I went on a 10-mile run like 2 weeks after and felt decent. But the first run back, I think, was a week and a half after, and it felt like the first time I'd ever ran. Like my body didn't know what it was doing.
Yeah. And you have no lingering effects from that race anymore?
There's still like a little bit of stiffness in my left ankle. Um, if I put it like at a weird angle, but I think it's maybe just like some scar tissue or something because I didn't have any issues with it at AC 100. But if I do like, I was sitting on like a paddleboard with my like foot back and it kind of felt a little bit of pain. But
Yeah. Well, Mason, it's been a pleasure hearing about your Cocodona experience and your career thus far.
yeah, dude.
Don't forget about me when you make it to the big leagues. Where can the listeners find you online?
Yeah, just achieving ultra on Instagram. That's kind of my running page and the page I'm starting to grow.
Awesome, man. Well, it's been nice catching up in podcast form. Best of luck in training. 8 month training block. I hope you squeeze in like a 2 week break somewhere in there, ideally after 4 months, but that's just my
Yeah,
own coaching opinion.
yeah.
And we'll certainly
Yeah,
be in
so
touch.
sounds good,
You
brother.
said it's
It's
in
fun.
April? You said Canyons is
Yeah,
in April? Do
April
you know when in
25th,
April? 25th?
25th.
Shit, I might have to pull up, show you what
It's
monk
nice
mode does.
out. Yeah,
All right, dog. Well, it's been real. I appreciate you. I know you got a really busy schedule. Tell Brady I said hello
will do.
when you
See you,
get in the
brother.
stew. See you, dog. Peace.